see the world in action.
What's up guys? So I am back today with another new video, and also if you notice something is new, well, first off, I'm in another room. I'm actually currently in LA for a few weeks, and then also I don't have any hair anymore. So no, I didn't cut it. This is actually like, well, I mean, I guess I cut it because I trimmed it. But this is actually my hair. I just took my tape and extensions out just to change it up, try something different. But anyways, that's not why you're here. You guys are here because you want to know how to film a lookbook. And this has been a video that I have been wanting to do for a while. And so I finally got around to doing it. And I'm going to be talking to you guys all about my equipment and the moves and how, not by the moves, I mean of like the camera, and then how to actually put the lookbook together, because obviously, as you guys know, if you're subscribed to my channel, I make fashion videos and I do quite a bit of lookbooks or just like style clips. In like my DIY and hacks video, I'll usually throw some sort of like fashion montage together at the end. And so I want to give you some insight information if you guys are wanting to be fashion YouTubers or wanting to create lookbooks. Anyway, so I think that's the longest intro I've ever done. Let's just get started. Okay, so I wanted to start off with equipment and what equipment I use and what equipment I would recommend using. So when starting out, you don't need to go out and buy a super expensive camera, because first off, it's not necessary. You can create good content with just your iPhone. I would show you my iPhone, but it's charging. Nowadays, like my iPhone shoots in 4K, which is insane, and it has like image stabilization. So what I'm gonna teach you, you guys can totally use with just your iPhone, and I'm also gonna be going over some editing as well if you guys wanna stay till the very end of the video. But if you guys are curious as for what I use, so I'm currently actually filming on my Canon 70D with a Sigma 30mm 1.4 lens, and with the lens being a 1.4, you are gonna get a bit of a blurry effect. So as you can see, things in the background aren't totally in focus, and then I am a bit sharper in the image. So when you guys watch videos and intros and you see a blurry background, usually it's the lens doing that. It's not actually the camera. And so that's one thing when I first started, I had like no idea about. I was like, I don't get how you get like a blurry background. I also do have an older video where I show the example between the kit lens and this lens, and you guys can kind of see side by side, and it teaches you some like camera tips and tricks. And so I will leave that link down below if you guys want to get like a more in-depth view of that, because I won't be talking about that in this video. I want to focus more on like the filming techniques of how to film a lookbook. So basically the 70D is what I will shoot obviously intros on, because it does have a screen that flips out, and normally I will shoot my lookbooks on there with the 30mm lens, but I actually got the chance to shoot with my dream camera when I did Fashion Month with a few of my friends. And so let me show you this, guys. This is the Canon 1DX, and this is literally just like everything in one. This shoots the most beautiful cinematography you will ever see. It shoots 120 frames per second, which is super slow motion, and it shoots it in 1080. So that means the super slow motion is really crisp and high quality, and this camera is just, it's seriously a game changer. Obviously, it's definitely more on the pricey side. It's basically one of the most expensive Canon cameras you can get that's like not obviously for like filming movies and TV. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's the case. So when I was in New York for Fashion Week, I stopped by the B&H photo store, and let me tell you, this store is like huge. There is so much stuff in it. I do have a vlog, I will link that down below, of me actually going into the store, walking around and picking up this bad boy. And so they lent this to me for Fashion Month, and I got to shoot some absolute amazing content with this, because the slow motion just makes everything look so much better. You could literally just be like against a blank wall or like standing next to a garbage can, and it would just look beautiful and cinematic. So huge thank you to them for lending me that. I am gonna leave all the links for all the stuff from B&H that I talk about down below, so you guys can check that out if you do want to save up towards this camera. I know I'm actually hopefully like within a year we'll be able to buy this. And then as for the lens that I've been using, which I also got from B&H, is the Canon, where are you? The Canon 24-70 2.8, and this is a fabulous lens because it really is like just everything you need in a lens. With the 2.8, you do get a really blurry background with it. And what's nice about this lens is you can zoom in and out quite a bit. So it's just like a good all-around lens. If you're going and shooting different things, if you want to do kind of more of a portrait or landscape, it works for both. So this has been really great. And then obviously when you're out shooting, you don't want to worry about like battery life and all that stuff. But the Canon 1DX is absolutely unreal on battery life. It's seriously so good and will last forever. But they did give me as well little charger. I had got an extra battery, which was really nice because then I didn't have to worry about like going back and charging, because these batteries take like forever to charge. But yeah, that's basically how I get that really beautiful cinematic slow motion. I know the Canon 5D, which is about half the price of this camera. It does do the slow motion as well at the 120 frames per second, but it only does it at 720p, which is still really good. And then as for just little vlogging and stuff, I use the Canon G7X. This little guy, you guys probably recognize it because most like vloggers use this, and it's good. Also too, if you guys haven't watched my LA outfits of the week, I did like a casual vlog style that I will link down below. And then I also use a Rode mic, so if you guys are hearing the sound right now, it's like pretty good. I would like to think it's pretty good. And the Rode mic does an excellent job with just giving a really like fullness of sound that sounds professional. And I think that is all, I think that's all my equipment. So let's actually get on to how to film a lookbook. Okay, so when filming a lookbook, the first thing that you want to do is come up with some sort of theme. So whether that be like a fall outfits idea, maybe something with the seasons, or like a specific store. So say you want to do like Forever 21 outfits or outfits under $50. So just think of like a general theme that you can do. And then the next thing that you want to think about once you have your theme and you have all the clothes is you want to find a location. And the biggest suggestion I have for you when deciding on locations is find one location that looks like it could be 3 different spots, because I honestly think it's a lot more visually interesting when it's filmed in either 3 different locations or one location that looks like 3 different places, because then it's not like the same thing over and over again. So say for example you're in front of just like a white wall. It does work to show off outfits, but it's not going to be as interesting in my opinion. It totally depends on like how you edit it. Like you can edit it super cool to make it look interesting, but if you are shooting outside, I would definitely recommend to try and like switch it up per every outfit, and it just kind of makes it more fun. So once you've decided on a location, have all the clothes, you can head out to shoot. And so what I want to talk to you guys about is how you actually go about shooting a lookbook. And so for me personally, when I get people to help me shoot lookbooks, like my sister for example, when she first started helping me, she didn't really know like what to do exactly. So I kind of taught her and trained her for what exactly I like, because each person can have their own individual style. I like to do quick edits and have like nice panning motions and that sort of thing, which I'm going to show you guys how to do, all that stuff. But usually I have that in my head of how exactly I want to edit it before I actually start filming. So I'm going to show you guys some simple moves that either you can do yourself or teach your videographer how to do, and you can come up with a epic lookbook. So the first shot that I always try and get is the panning shot. So basically all that means is starting from one side of the subject and moving over to the other side. And so all you want to do is just hold your camera like this. You'll want to make sure it's focused on their face, and then carefully move over like so. And by doing this, it just kind of creates a nice movement within the frame. Obviously having still shots is great as well, but I kind of like every shot to have some sort of movement, even if it's just like a tiny bit. So I'll usually go with the camera or get my videographer to just go back and forth like this. And then also another trick to this is you can do kind of a figure 8. And so you can get them to go like that, and this move is really good for intros. If you guys have seen any of like the popular YouTubers fashion videos where they have like those really quick intros and they're kind of like lots of movement and that kind of thing, usually there is some sort of like figure 8 movement like this, and when you actually edit it, you only use like a short little section of it. And then the next move is panning up and down. So what you want to do is you want to start at the top of your subject and then carefully go all the way down just by bending your knees and trying to keep your body as straight as possible. So a little tip, and what I'll usually do, is just take my arms, put them at the side like this, and then hold the camera like this, and then you kind of become like a steady cam yourself. And then what you want to do is keep the top of your body really still, and then just bend your legs and move it all the way down and then all the way back up. It is like a little bit of a workout, but you'll get a beautiful shot out of it. I'm like, why am I out of breath? And then another move you can kind of add on to that is going up and down, but this time doing kind of an S curve. And so just going and doing the same thing with it at your side and then bending your knees. This is my attempt at like bending my knees as my body lowers. So you'll just kind of go up and do an S curve, and this looks really good for intros and just gives it a nice movement. So the next move that I'm going to show you guys is just the going in and out. So what you want to do is start on your subject like this and then slowly pan out, and then I'll just pan back in. And then what you'll want to do is get your subject or you yourself to move a little bit as the person is doing these movements. So either spin around a little bit, maybe smile, maybe do like a little hair flick and wink, my personal favorite, and then just go back and forth and you'll get some really nice shots. So once I have all the panning shots, I always make sure to get detail shots. And so what I'll do is I'll get really close to my subject and maybe get a detail of their necklace or of their jacket, or if they're wearing a specific brand that you want to show off, you can show the logo. And then once again, you want to kind of get your subject to move a little bit, maybe like play with their sweater, maybe just like another hair flip, because why not? And then once you have all those detail shots I really like to get that are kind of just extra is get your subject going to do things. And so maybe you're going to get coffee, or you're like running and the person's kind of following you. I think it just makes it more visually interesting and kind of like adds to the lookbook, and you're not just kind of like standing there. Especially too if the person maybe, or if you yourself feel uncomfortable getting filmed, you can just get your video person to kind of like discreetly film you, maybe as you're like picking up your coffee and then walking out the door, and you can show off your outfit at the same time. All right, so once you have all your footage and all your outfits, the next step of this is to edit. And so I'm gonna switch to a screencast right now and kind of go through a little editing tutorial with you guys so you guys can see how exactly I edit my videos and tips and tricks that I think make a really good lookbook. So let's get into that. Okay, so the first step is once we have our footage filmed, what you want to do. Okay, so the first thing that I usually do, will take my footage and put it all in the timeline like so. So I edit in Final Cut Pro. It's pretty similar to iMovie. I actually first started learning on iMovie and then I switched to Final Cut Pro, and it was a pretty easy transition. So here I have my 2 long clips, and if it was a full video, I'd probably have like a ton of these. And then as you can see here as well, there is audio in this. So usually the first thing I'll do is, if I don't need any audio, is I'll just go detach the audio and I'll get rid of that. And so as you can see, as I'm moving my cursor all the way across, here's all my footage. And obviously what we're going to need to do first is cut all this footage up. And so when kind of watching the footage, you can kind of see that I have a few like little movements here where this was me kind of just adjusting the camera, but it was still filming. And then my shot is actually going to be moving back here. So what I want to do is actually just cut that part out. So I'm just going to zoom into the clip here. I press B, that gives me a blade. And then I see here it's like a little shaky, but then I start kind of my motion around this point and it goes to here. So what I'll do is I'll then click on this, press delete, and that gets rid of that. Okay, so as you can see here, I have kind of my first clip. It is quite shaky, but we're going to go through and rough cut everything. And so then I just continue that process. I have another then panning in motion here. I kind of stumble with the camera a bit there, so I'm just going to delete that part until it gets to her face and she's turning. And then this is going to be about one motion up until here, and then I'm going to, because I kind of move a little bit here, I'll just cut that like this. And then I just keep going through and I cut out. So there I kind of have the camera moving a bit. I'll just cut that part out and have it start going back. Okay, so once I have all my clips cut, as you can see here, they're just kind of in the timeline. And so the first thing that I'm going to do is stabilize all of the clips. So what you want to do is you just want to select all of them here, and then if you use Final Cut Pro, the stabilization feature is just right in this little thing right here. It's right beside the info button, and it looks something like this. And then you just want to go down underneath crop and distort. There's a little button here that says stabilization, and so I just check that off, and that will stabilize all of the clips. And so you want to just give that a minute, because sometimes it does take a little while to actually stabilize everything. So as we watch it through, you can definitely see the difference where it kind of gets rid of the camera shake. So I really love to stabilize every clip, but you'll notice in some of the clips it doesn't actually do that great of a job. So then I'll actually have to decide if I want to use that clip or not. Sometimes if it's too weird with stabilization and it doesn't look good without it, then I just won't use the clip, because obviously I kind of overshoot and get more than I actually need. So as you can see for this one, it makes it look kind of weird and zoomed it in a lot. So what I'll actually do is I'll take the stabilization off of it, and it doesn't look that great without it. So for this one, I'll probably just get rid of the clip and use a different one instead. So the next thing I'm going to do is slow this footage down, and the only reason I can do this is because this footage was actually filmed in 60 frames per second. So if you look here, you can see this here, and you can either film in 30 or 60 frames per second. And the thing is, with filming in 60, it is going to be a little bit less clear, not for this camera because I was shooting on the 1DX, but any kind of normal Canon camera or any really camera used in general, at 60 frames per second, especially when I do this on my Canon 70D, it is a lot less clear, I find, versus the 30. It's not as sharp. The nice thing about the 1DX is it does kind of make everything sharp even when it's slow motion, and that's why I love using it. So I'm just going to take all of my clips here, and I'm just gonna go to where it says slow 50%, and I will slow all of those down. And I personally love doing lookbooks that have slow motion in them. Also, huge shout out to my friend Angelique for letting me use her as a model. She also is a YouTuber as well, so if you guys want to check out her channel, I'll definitely leave it linked down below. Okay, so once everything is rendered, you can see that it just looks really beautiful and cinematic. And so the next step when editing the lookbook is putting in the music, because I love to edit lookbooks to a certain track and really cut everything to the beat. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So I'm just going to go into my iTunes library and search up some of my royalty-free music that I get from Epidemic Sounds. I've been using Epidemic Sounds for quite a while, and a lot of my music is from there. Often you guys ask me where I get my songs, and it is from here. So basically you pay a subscription fee, and then in exchange you can use a bunch of really awesome music in your videos. Okay, so I'm just dragging this song into my timeline. So I kind of like how this clip starts to pan out really slowly. So what I usually do is try and find a beat in the song that would be a good cut in the footage. So I'll usually listen to it a few times to try and figure out exactly where I should cut the music to. So I think I'm gonna cut it around here, so you can kind of also look at the music track. So on this beat here, I'm gonna make a cut. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the clip and I'm gonna move it all the way over. So then it kind of lines up. If you zoom in, you can kind of see here how the beat starts up again. It goes slow, and then there's another beat here. So I'm just going to move the clip right to that point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to then take a clip that's a different position, because if it just cuts to something that looks kind of the same, it doesn't make it as effective in my opinion.
About to leave, already packing.
And so we have another beat here, so I'm just gonna move it like this. So another thing that I'll do is I'll speed up the footage and then slow it down. So as you can hear on this beat, so there's a beat here and then a beat here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a cut there, bring it all the way to the end, and then select this, and I'm gonna speed this up quite a bit. And this is another really fun editing trick you can do to just kind of add some more motion and movement to it. And honestly, your lookbooks will be taken to the next level when you actually edit to the music and do stuff like speeding it up and then slowing it down. And I honestly think this is what makes the best lookbook, and cutting to the beat being the most important, obviously stabilizing the footage. And if you can slow it down, if you shoot in 60 frames per second, having a few clips maybe that are more slow and then some that are regular speed. And then along with doing all the motions that I kind of explained before, you guys are going to have a solid lookbook. And then one more thing I will do at the end of every video is I will make sure to add a little bit of coloring. And so I don't have any like color extensions or any like extra things I bought with LUTs and all that, where basically it like colors it for you. But I will saturate it a little bit, and then usually put the exposure up a tiny bit if the clip is maybe a bit too dark. And then I will bring the darks down. And what you can actually do is you can go into the coloring, and I like to make it a bit warmer, and so usually just a slightly warmer, around 3% in the reds, or if I want it a bit cooler, I can put up the blues, but I do like it to have like that kind of little red effect. But yeah, basically that is how I do my editing, and then you get something like this.
About to leave, already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking, we'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action.
Alright guys, so that is it for the video. I really hope that this helped you out and gave you guys some insider information, because I have been making videos for quite some time, so I do feel like I have some tips and tricks that will definitely be useful. And if you guys have any more questions or anything like that, definitely leave it in the comment section below and I will answer as many as I can. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, make sure to do that as well. I've been trying to like up my Instagram game and taking a lot of photos and whatnot. So if you guys want to follow me on there, it's just at LauraReid with 2 Ds. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!